So Tyler, thanks for taking time out for the Art of Fearlessly Doing Business interview. Tell everybody who you are and what your business is.
My name is Tyler Butler, and I am the principal and founder of 11:11 Consulting, and we help companies operate with a conscience. So we go in and help them build strategic, sustainable, philanthropic efforts based on what they do as a business and what fits their company culture.
And today we're at the Arizona Science Center, which is an organization that you serve on the board for, correct?
Yes, so I have the opportunity to serve our community as a Board of Trustees member for the Arizona Science Center, and there is a ton of great things to do down here downtown, so it's a good one to be involved with.
Well, it's the first time I've been here, and I can't wait to spend more time here. It's fantastic. So tell me the first, why you started your business is the first question. Why did you start your business?
So I was seeing a trend emerging. I come from a nonprofit background, and I had the opportunity to work on the other side of the fold, if you will. And I saw businesses really working to create more strategic giving efforts. And in doing so, I slowly worked into being in a role of a corporate social responsibility practitioner at Microsoft and GoDaddy. And I saw a trend emerging where businesses were being really thoughtful about putting these programs into place and putting strategic resources, money, and they needed guidance. I was getting a lot of requests from different organizations to come in and take a deep dive and look at their company culture and talk to their C-suite about how to help them implement these programs in a meaningful way. And so I just made good sense for me to take the skill set that I had learned in school and then put into practice into place in the community to help different businesses.
So what was the first big fear that you had to overcome to get started? Because you were leaving a corporate world where you had a secure paycheck and benefits. So GoDaddy has fantastic benefits. I once worked there and you get full coverage. Yeah. So you're leaving the security of a paycheck and now you're starting this company. What was the first big fear you had to overcome to do that?
So my skill set really lies in the developing partnerships and creating events and leveraging relationships and bringing all of that full circle. So the biggest fear for me initially was more of the financial side of the business and more of the, how do I get my DBA put together? Kind of more of the finite business practices that I had to really seek out help from subject matter experts that I had connected with in the past and have them help guide me through the process, and in the process I learned myself as well. But it was frightening at the beginning because those are things that you have to do when you're starting your own business and you have to find your way through them.
It's amazing how many details there are that you didn't think about.
There's so many details. I mean, when you get right into it, you're also building your brand. You're also looking at a logo and how you're representing yourself publicly. Then you get into your website and your social media presence. There's a lot that has to be done in order to put a successful business into place. And so, having the chance to have gone through the process now, I know firsthand that it does take a lot of thoughtful planning and time to get something really great put together.
And it makes you better at what you do.
I think so. I think that it really helps you be more well-rounded as a professional. It helps give you more of an understanding of different sides of the business that maybe you hadn't had an opportunity to dive into before. I know for me, it's made me a much more well-rounded professional.
So what's the thing that concerns you the most now? What's the thing that kind of keeps you up at night? Well, hang on. Before I ask that question,
okay.
I'll ask you the other question. The other question is, what was the first big bump in the road?
Okay.
So the first thing that happened that you were like, oh.
So as I got started in my firm, I was recognizing that outside of the companies that were approaching me to help them with their corporate responsibility efforts, the general public didn't necessarily understand what corporate social responsibility was. It's this great buzzword, it's this thing that people love to talk about, but it disguises itself in all of these different things, grant making, sponsorships, volunteerism, and I think the general picture of it all together was missing. So for me, I actually partnered with an organization, Aid and Taylor, and I created some animated shorts. So I used storytelling. And through storytelling perspective, right, which is so great, through storytelling, I had the opportunity then to educate people about what a great corporate social responsibility program looks like, all the different ways that it can impact your business, and how I could be of service in doing that. But it threw me for a curve at the beginning because I just assumed, having been knee-deep in that field, that people were going to understand that from the get-go.
I can relate to that from my company, Fearlessly Deliver, where I execute projects for business owners.
Yeah.
If I tell that to a person who's not in business, they're like, what do you mean?
Yeah.
But if you tell it to an entrepreneur who's been up at 4 o'clock in the morning doing XYZ project or putting something off because they haven't been able to get it done, they totally get it. So it's also your audience, right?
Very much
Yeah.
so your audience, and so it's also, you know, trying to take that vernacular of what in my world seems like second nature and using certain words or terminology and making it more commonplace so that I can better describe what it is that I go on and do at businesses, which was really great about doing that animated short and putting more of a storytelling perspective in place.
Ah, okay. So now, the next question, which I got to a little early, but we'll do
Yeah.
it again. What's the thing that concerns you the most now that you've gotten started and you got your LLC in place
Yeah.
and you've got your branding and your website and you've kind of gotten your message down to a fine-tuned message. Now you're into the thick of it. What's the big deal now?
You know, sometimes I really feel like it's meeting expectations and setting fair expectations. And I was actually just talking to Tammy from the Arizona Science Center about this. And I think a lot of companies don't always understand that, you know, these small and mighty teams at nonprofits, while they need the assistance and they are hungry to have your help, there is a planning phase that needs to go into place. That, you know, you can't just walk in the door and say, we have 30 volunteers here today and we want you to put them into action. You know, you do have to coordinate those efforts. You do have to work collectively with an organization, and sometimes you have to develop a rapport and a relationship so that you're one of the companies that they want to come in and be a part of their organization. So, you know, I'm noticing that sometimes that expectation piece can be a little bit off, and so educating my clients about, you know, what's reasonable and, you know, what's also going to help them be sustainable in these relationships is something that I'm finding can be a challenge sometimes.
So I can relate to that because I started off my working world in social work.
Yeah.
And I've done a lot of social service.
Yes.
And one of the things that I did was I ran a program, a lunch down at Lodestar for my faith community Unity. And I had about 50 volunteers that were feeding about 1,000 people for lunch. And even that little project, it takes a lot of coordination between Lodestar and Unity, and then the people, and then getting getting stuff there, and where do you park, and then actually doing the work with the people. There's a lot of coordination. Where in corporate America or in business, you have a little more control over your product, over stuff. And in social service, there's more control in some areas and less control in others. So you're dealing with two separate dynamics and trying to get them to work together. It does take more time sometimes because there's two different types of things going on there.
Absolutely, and you're dealing with a whole bunch of different schedules, but also you want to be cognizant that you're not making more work for the nonprofit and accommodating your organization to come in and be of service.
Yeah.
You know, and there is a plethora of ways to give back, so it isn't just through volunteerism, but, you know, I am finding that in that piece, there is some kind of off expectation.
You don't want to completely stress the whole world out, I guess.
No, you don't want them to be actually losing money, time, and resources by helping you get into their organization to be of service.
That makes sense.
Backwards.
So what can you tell others about being fearless? I mean, you've had to walk through a lot of stuff. When did you start your company?
I started my company over a year ago. So
yay! So
yay!
you got
your anniversary. Love that. And I was one that did. I kind of tiptoed into the entrepreneurial pool. So I actually had clients before I left my corporate gig. I actually had clients before I had a website. Which I think is super interesting.
Which is usually what
because
happens.
I was like, backtrack, it's a good problem to have.
I need a website, oops. Yeah.
But then you also want that business that you're presenting to people publicly and that brand to represent you well. So you don't want to just throw something up, right?
Right.
I mean, you want to be thoughtful about it and put something in place that you're really proud of.
Yeah.
So I just think that's an interesting point that sometimes, you know, you work in reverse.
Yeah.
But for me moving forward, you know, really I try to keep in mind the mantra that my parents taught me, which is just really if you put your mind to it, you really can achieve it. I'm a big believer in that. I'm a believer that if you put hard work into anything and you really are consistent and, you know, you continue to put that in, then you're going to get the result that you want in the end. And you just have to keep pushing forward. You know, you're going to hear no's, you're going to have bad days, and you just can't give up.
You got a really strong relationship with your mom.
Yeah.
I watched one of your interviews, and she's kind of a can-do chick too, right?
Yes. My mom actually she still works this day. She does home mortgage loans, and interestingly enough, she's been one of the top home mortgage loan people in the country throughout her career. And of course, now she's slowing down a bit, but at her age, to continue to work dynamically and to push like that, it's inspiring.
I think it's one of the things that a lot of the entrepreneurs had in common. They had a really strong figure, either their father or their mother, or maybe their uncle, some particular person that had a work ethic that kind of rubbed off on them.
Yeah, and for me, it's both. My parents, they actually owned a government construction company. So I grew up in an entrepreneurial family.
Yeah.
We moved every year to 2 years. We moved with our little gypsy troupe of construction family members. And, so I watched firsthand. I helped with the paperwork in the office over the summer. My brother helped on the backhoe. So we helped build our family construction company, but kind of learned a little bit of the skill set of how to be a go-getter and a self-starter, if you will, just from being a part of my family's business.
Well, I'm so excited we had a chance, number one, to meet, because
Yes.
you and I are going to be working on a project hopefully in December.
Yes.
Teaser. The Art of Fearlessly Doing Business has a sister, and her name is The Art of Fearlessly Giving Back, and you and I are going to be working on making that project really successful this year. And where this project focuses on business owners, that project is going to focus more on giving back and giving and being of service. And so I'm really looking forward to working on that with you.
I think the Art of Giving Back is going to be an amazing project. I'm super excited to be involved and partner with you in any capacity. I just think there's tons of potential there because, giving back is a really important part of the world today, and it's the way that we're going to push forward and make things better. And so to focus on that and showcase people that are doing that in a really wonderful way is going to be powerful.
It's very exciting. Well,
Yeah.
Tyler, thank you so much for taking the time out today.
Yes.
And I look forward to seeing you on May 5th.
Yes.
At the brand new Fearless Artwork.
So excited.
In
Your new
Carefree.
studio.
Yay! And so I look forward to seeing you then from 6 to 9 on May 5th. So thanks
Right on.
a lot.
I can't wait, May 5th.